What if everything you're working so hard for, the career, the relationships, the financial freedom, isn't being blocked by the world around you, but by the thoughts inside your own head? Imagine waking up tomorrow feeling unshakable, even when life throws its worst at you. Picture handling problems with calm, making decisions with confidence, and bouncing back from failure faster than ever. Most people think they need to change jobs, move cities, or meet the right person to finally be happy and successful. But the real shift happens long before you land that dream opportunity or win the jackpot. It happens the moment you decide to challenge the limits of your own mind. Deep down, you already know this. You've seen people with half your talent and resources achieve 10 times more. You've watched someone with a painful past turn it into a source of power, and you've wondered why some people seem to bend reality to their will while you feel stuck replaying the same worries day after day. The difference isn't luck, genetics, or a secret advantage. It's the simple but life-changing habit of mastering what happens between your ears. You weren't born to repeat old mistakes and settle for a life that feels just okay. You have a fire inside you that's been waiting for permission to break free from old excuses and stale beliefs. Right now, that part of you wants more passion, more progress, more freedom to live boldly and without apology. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment or a sign from the universe. The power to rewrite your life is already within you, hidden behind the thoughts you dare to question and the mindset you choose to build today. Most people go through life thinking success is reserved for the lucky few, the ones born with money, talent, or connections. They spend years chasing the next promotion, the perfect partner, the dream house, believing that happiness will finally show up once everything else falls into place. Yet time and time again, life proves that none of these guarantees fulfillment or lasting progress. The truth is far less glamorous and far more empowering. Nothing in your outer world changes until your inner world does first. The stories you repeat to yourself, the beliefs you defend, and the way you talk yourself into or out of your goals, these hidden patterns shape your reality more than any circumstance ever could. Every breakthrough you've ever heard about, every story of a person rising from the ashes, every jaw-dropping success story has one thing in common. It started with a decision to think differently. It wasn't some miracle cure or overnight windfall that made the difference. It was a stubborn, daily commitment to challenge old thoughts and replace them with beliefs that open doors instead of slam them shut. Changing your mind isn't about ignoring reality or pretending problems don't exist. It's about realizing you hold the power to choose what those problems mean and how you respond. That simple shift can turn fear into courage, failure into fuel, and obstacles into stepping stones. You don't need to be extraordinary to build an extraordinary life. You just need to master what you focus on and what you tell yourself is possible. The mind is like a garden. Left untended, weeds grow wild and choke your potential. But when you plant seeds of purpose, discipline, and possibility, your entire life begins to flourish. This isn't about wishful thinking or empty motivation. It's about learning proven ways to train your brain to back you up instead of hold you back. The most successful people in the world didn't wait for permission to rewrite their thoughts. They acted long before they felt ready. They did the uncomfortable work of replacing excuses with action and doubt with determination. They faced their fears and turned them into allies. What sets them apart isn't some genetic gift. It's the relentless habit of mental discipline and emotional control. If you're tired of repeating old patterns and watching your potential slip through your fingers, now is the time to wake up to a new truth. When you change the way you think, you change the results you get, the opportunities you see, and the life you live. It all starts in your mind. Every day, countless people wake up feeling like they're running on a treadmill that never stops. They pour energy into working longer hours, juggling commitments, and pushing themselves to hit the next milestone, yet deep inside, a quiet frustration grows. Despite all the effort, real change feels out of reach. Bills still pile up, relationships feel strained, and dreams get postponed for a better time that never comes. It's easy to blame circumstances, the economy, the boss who doesn't appreciate you, the partner who doesn't understand, or the lack of time and resources. But beneath all these reasons hides a more uncomfortable truth. Most people are fighting battles with the wrong enemy. It's not the external world that traps them. It's the invisible prison built inside their own minds. From a young age, people inherit beliefs from parents, teachers, culture, and past failures. Over time, these beliefs harden into a script that runs on autopilot. I'm not smart enough to start a business. I'll always be broke. Good things don't happen to people like me. Or if I try, I'll just fail again. These thoughts whisper in the background, shaping every decision and reaction. They sabotage ambition before it has a chance to breathe. Opportunities are overlooked because self-doubt wins the argument. Risks are avoided because fear dresses up as logic. Even when people want to change, they often feel powerless because they don't realize that these thoughts are not facts, they are habits. This mental programming explains why two people can face the same challenge and get completely different results. One sees a setback as a reason to quit. The other sees it as fuel to adapt and try again. One blames others for their circumstances. The other takes ownership and finds a solution. This difference doesn't come from luck or education alone. It comes from whether someone has learned to master their thoughts or let their thoughts master them. The real tragedy is that so many accept their mental limitations as permanent truth. They wait for motivation to magically appear or for life to become easier before they make a move, but waiting is the silent killer of dreams. As the years pass, frustration turns into regret. People look back and wonder how things might have been different if only they had believed they could break free from the old stories that kept them stuck. Recognizing this mental trap is the first step, but dismantling it requires courage, daily effort, and a willingness to question everything you think you know about who you are and what you're capable of becoming. Once a person realizes that their mind is the real gatekeeper of their success, they begin to see that change doesn't have to come from dramatic overnight leaps. It comes from consistent, conscious decisions to disrupt old thinking patterns and replace them with new, empowering ones. This process is not complicated, but it does demand honesty and discipline. The first step is awareness. It means catching yourself in the act of self-sabotage. Maybe you hear the voice that says, I can't do this, or I'll never be good enough. Instead of blindly accepting it, you pause and question it. Is this absolutely true? Often, the answer is no. Next, you replace that old thought with one that serves you. For example, rather than saying, I'm terrible at this, you say, I'm learning and I can improve with effort. This isn't pretending life is perfect. It's training your brain to stop defaulting to defeat and start focusing on possibility. Over time, this rewiring becomes automatic. Thoughts that once held you back lose their power. New beliefs take root and start influencing your actions in positive ways. Another key part of this transformation is changing what you focus on daily. Many people waste mental energy reliving failures, worrying about things they can't control, or comparing themselves to others. This drains motivation and feeds doubt. By consciously directing your focus toward gratitude, goals, and solutions instead of problems, you train your mind to become a powerful ally. Instead of thinking, why does this always happen to me? You ask, what can I learn from this and how can I use it to grow? That shift alone can turn a bad day into a breakthrough. Small repeated habits reinforce these new mental pathways. Journaling, daily affirmations, and visualizing success are simple tools that many high performers use to strengthen positive thinking. Surrounding yourself with supportive people is just as vital. Your environment either fuels growth or feeds your old limitations. Conversations, books, and even social media influence your mindset more than most realize. By choosing what you consume and who you interact with, you create a protective bubble that nurtures your evolving beliefs. This journey doesn't mean you won't face setbacks or fears. It means you develop the resilience to bounce back faster and the mental clarity to adapt when life throws you a curveball. Bit by bit, the mind stops being a prison and becomes a tool, one you sharpen daily to build a life defined by purpose, progress, and genuine fulfillment. There comes a point in every person's journey when the struggle to break free from old thinking reaches a boiling point. It often happens in the quiet moments, late at night, alone with your thoughts, or at a crossroads when another setback pushes you to your limit. At first, it feels like defeat. Doubt whispers, why bother? Maybe this is just who you are. But within that moment of raw honesty lies the seed of your greatest breakthrough. The turning point is not when circumstances magically change, but when you decide once and for all that you are done living as a prisoner to the same excuses and fears that have stolen so much time. It is a gut-level decision to stop blaming the past, stop blaming other people, and stop waiting for the perfect conditions. It's the moment you finally realize that freedom comes when you take full responsibility for what you think and how you act, no matter what life throws at you. This decision does not erase problems overnight, but it does unleash an inner strength you might not have known existed. Suddenly, obstacles look smaller because you feel bigger. The same situations that used to break you become opportunities to test your new resolve. Challenges turn into lessons, and setbacks become signals to adjust, not to quit. You begin to feel powerful, not because the world treats you differently, but because you show up differently. This shift often surprises even the person experiencing it. Friends and family notice the change, a new calm confidence in your voice, a quiet determination in your actions, and an unshakable belief that no matter what happens, you will find a way. Doubts still appear, but they no longer drive the bus. Fear still knocks, but you answer the door with courage instead of retreat. You know, what once felt impossible starts to feel inevitable. You see glimpses of progress, small wins that multiply into bigger victories. One day you look back and hardly recognize the version of you who used to hesitate, procrastinate, and accept good enough. In that moment, you understand something priceless. The real battle was never with the world. It was with the thoughts you clung to. Now armed with a mindset that serves you instead of enslaves you, life becomes an open field of possibilities. That is the real climax, not a single triumph, but a permanent shift in how you face everything, knowing that your mind is now your greatest weapon, not your greatest enemy. When you look back at the path you've walked, the biggest lesson becomes crystal clear. The power to create the life you want was never locked away in your circumstances, but in the way you chose to interpret and respond to them. Changing your mind didn't erase challenges. It gave you the tools to handle them with more strength, clarity, and resilience than you ever imagined possible. You learned that the same thoughts that once trapped you in cycles of fear and hesitation could be replaced with beliefs that fuel your actions and open doors that once seemed forever closed. Through the ups and downs, you discover that setbacks don't define your worth or your potential. Instead, they became stepping stones, each one teaching you something valuable about patience, discipline, or courage. Failures transform from dead ends into redirections towards smarter choices and better opportunities. Doubt lost its grip because you proved to yourself time and time again that you are capable of so much more than your old story allowed you to believe. This journey of mental transformation isn't about pretending to be perfect or never feeling afraid again. It's about building an inner foundation strong enough to weather any storm. It's about having the self-awareness to catch your mind drifting back into limiting patterns and the commitment to pull it back on track. Every day is an opportunity to reinforce the new blueprint you've created, a mind that works with you, not against you. People around you might notice your changes long before you do. They'll see the way you handle stress, the quiet certainty behind your decisions, and the way you refuse to settle for anything less than what aligns with your true values. They might even ask how you did it, and the answer is simple yet profound. You decided to become the master of your mind instead of its victim. In the end, life remains unpredictable. There will be moments that test your patience and days when old doubts try to sneak back in. But now you have the tools, the awareness, and the strength to meet those moments head on. You know that no external situation has the final say on who you are or what you can achieve. This truth liberates you to dream bigger, act bolder, and live more fully than ever before. When you change your mind, you don't just change how you think, you change everything about how you live, love, and succeed. Now that you see how much power lives within your own thoughts, the only question left is, what will you do with it? You've read the ideas, you've glimpsed the possibilities, but reading alone won't shift your life. Action will. And it doesn't need to be dramatic or perfect. It needs to be real, consistent, and aligned with the vision you have for your best self. Start today by making a commitment to catch your mind when it drifts into old habits. Write down the thoughts that hold you back, and next to each one, write a new belief that lifts you up. Read them every morning before you check your phone or answer to the world's demands. It may feel awkward at first, but the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Surround yourself with reminders of the life you want to build. Fill your environment with books, conversations, and people who challenge you to rise above excuses. Replace gossip and complaints with ideas and solutions. If you find yourself slipping back into self-doubt, don't waste time beating yourself up. Simply notice it, laugh it off, and get back on course. Most importantly, take one bold action every day that moves you closer to your goals, even if it scares you. Call the client, sign up for the class, pitch the idea, say yes to the opportunity. Action is the cure for overthinking, and every step you take proves to your mind that you are in charge. Remember, your mind is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger and more supportive it becomes. Each small choice compounds into new habits, new outcomes, and ultimately a new reality that reflects your truest potential. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start. There will always be reasons to postpone your dreams, but there is only one reason to begin now. Because your life is happening now, you deserve to experience what it feels like to wake up each day driven by clarity, courage, and purpose. Take that first step today. Trust yourself enough to believe that you can rewrite the story you've been telling yourself for years. This is your time to act, to transform, and to live a life you won't regret. It all begins with the choice you make right now.